YouTube, what's going on, man? We back with another reaction, man. We got the downfall of EBK Jayybo, murder for hire in Stockton. Now, I don't know how this came about. I don't know what's going on. This is all new news to me, so we finna get into the reaction. Let's see what's going on.
If there was ever a unanimous crash out MVP award, it would have to go to EBK Jayybo. Bro literally has a song saying fuck everybody, and at the top of the list is the person that he's accused of hiring a hit for, man. It's honestly next level insanity, because despite being the face of California's underground rap scene, Jayybo cannot and will not stay out of prison for more than 3 business days at this point.
21-year-old Jaymani Gorman, also known as EBK Jayybo. He was arrested Sunday on drug and weapons charges after being released from prison back in March. He was serving a year for illegal gun possession.
With a promising rap career ahead of him, it finally seemed like he was going to be taking the music seriously with his latest release. From being booked for the NBA YoungBoy upcoming tour, to fans being able to see a different side of him in his collabs with streamers and other large content creators, it seemed like he was actually trying to go in a positive direction with his music. But lo and behold, in a random night in May, he would be arrested on 2 counts of possession of a controlled substance, 1 count of criminal use of prohibited weapon, and 1 count of theft by receiving. At first, those charges seemed like the average EBK Jayybo charges, as he pretty much got released from prison in March on pretty similar stuff. However, yesterday, it was reported that he was picked up by the U.S. Marshals, which seems to have made this case a whole lot more complicated. And according to close sources, EBK Jayybo is apparently being investigated for a murder for hire plot from a couple years back involving a rising artist and other members of EBK who have since crashed out and been in jail fighting that case for years. Man, so today we gotta get into the alleged body that might take EBK Jayybo right off the street right now, gang. But before we do, I'm gonna need you to do something for me, man. Like, comment, subscribe. It helps spread the videos. Make sure you check out the merch. We got some fire tees on deck. Drop it. Join Stay Safe Gang, link in the description. Might get overlooked compared to huge cities in California like the Bay or LA, but that city has been a hotbed for California's sound and has been influencing all across the state for years now. Coming from the southeast area of Stockton on the 2100 block of Nightingale Ave, EBK Jayybo basically came up in one of the craziest areas that you can imagine, not just in that city, but in the state of California in general. The city of Stockton is filled with gangs and gang violence, and being from this area, he was naturally associated with the EBK Nightingale, a hybrid gang of mostly Bloods but some Crips that are highly active within this area and beef with many different sets. The most notable members are EBK Jayybo, EBK Young Jock, EBK Osama, and Young slo-be, who is very important to this story. At the same time, they have a lot of crazy beefs, but the most notable would probably be between a Crip set from South Stockton called the Fly Boys. The most notable member is Bands, and also Jay Black, who coincidentally, Bands is charged with 3 murders right now, and that's a whole different story that we might get into right now. But just remember, Bands and Jay Black, pretty much them and the people that they beefed with are responsible for creating this new eerie California drill sound that we know today, that's pretty much influenced rappers from all over the states and all over different parts of Stockton, and even had parts of influence in Kendrick's GNX album. Part of the reason that this sound has grown so vastly though is because of the crazy beefs that have been ongoing through the city, taking out some of the most talented artists there. Both sides have lost promising artists that were extremely talented and had hoped to get out of their situation, but it seems that these deaths could have played a direct role into the possible murder for hire charges that EBK Jayybo is facing right now, which we're gonna get into with the murder of slo-be, chapter 2. At one point,
before we get into this, I don't know. I ain't from Stockton, but this, like I said, this is new news for me. I ain't know he's picked up by the U.S. Marshals. Like, I don't know, Jayybo, bro. Hey man, I just hope it ain't true, my dude.
point, Flyboys and EBK were cool, being from the same area trying to come up in the music scene. There's been much speculation on what exactly caused a shift in their relationship, but it seems like politics caused an inner split around 2021 when a member from Nightingale was shot dead in their area. Since then, many back and forths, and the city of Stockton is really not that big. It's not like you can really hide. People are gonna find you. During this time, young slo-be was probably the biggest artist consistently dropping out of EBK, with Jayybo getting in and out of jail. The beaches seem to be getting closer and closer on the home front, with young slo-be releasing songs like Don't Come to My Funeral, basically calling his death, which was honestly crazy, and it wouldn't drop until after he died. And unfortunately, before he could even release that song, he would be gunned down in a wild broad daylight shooting in Manteca, California, which was just outside of Stockton. On August 5th, 2022, officers have responded at 8:17 to 176 Trevino Ave on reports of a possible shooting at an apartment complex. Witnesses saw slo-be ambushed in his complex and started to bleed out on the ground. They also identified a black Mercedes sedan as it sped away. However, the police were never able to find a culprit. Fast forward just a few years later, and a rising rapper from the Flyboys named J Black, who was slowly making a name for himself, would become the next victim, and had many people wondering if these two situations were related. So let's get into this with chapter 3. J Black was a rapper associated with the Flyboy Crip set in South Stockton, and as I said before, they had numerous issues with members of EBK. Many felt that they could have been responsible, especially because several members that have died from there, such as Flyboy Lil Los. This wouldn't stop Flyboy members from trolling EBK, even dropping songs dissing young slo-be, calling him young slow feet. It's safe to say that they wanted people to think that this was their work regardless if they did it or not, but a lot of things, just like the amount of people that died on both sides afterwards, definitely pointed in an odd direction. But unfortunately for their biggest rapper J Block, this all caught up to him in the worst way possible when he himself would be gunned down by several EBK members allegedly, one of which was a rapper very close to EBK Jayybo named EBK Lil Play.
Stockton police are looking for the suspects in separate murders over the weekend. 3 people were killed. On Saturday night, police say 24-year-old Andrea Jones and 29-year-old Jacob Haywood Thomas were killed. The shooting happened near South Airport Way and 8th Street. Both were from...
Well, Luke, we're learning tonight the incident happened here behind us inside the parking lot of the Southside Market. Much of the investigation appears to be aimed towards the front of the market, but we're not sure whether or not shots were fired inside or out. But what we can tell you is we do see some bullet holes in the front of the business as well as on some cars. Police have since taped off the entire area here, and that includes all of the parking lot of Southside Market. Traffic is not impacted, but as you can see, the crime scene markers and where police are looking has really sprawled out. Officers on the scene also tell us that there's a number of family members of the victims that are over on the other side of this area. We went to speak with them. They said they didn't want to answer any questions.
Arrested a third suspect in connection with a deadly shooting 1 year ago. Derek Gordon was taken into custody in Las Vegas in connection with the deaths of Andrea Jones and Jacob Haywood Thomas. The pair were killed in March of last year near South Airport Way and 8th Street. 2 others, 18-year-old Io Sawaya Satwa and 16-year-old boy, were already arrested.
In March of 2023, J Black and a 24-year-old Andrea Jones were posted up at a convenience store at 2100 South Airport at around 6:30 p.m. when several masked men pulled up and shots rang out. Andrea was hit, and so was J Black, aka Jacob Haywood Thomas. Unfortunately, Jacob Haywood Thomas would not survive. Police would do a thorough investigation, and 2 EBK members, Lil Play and Day Day, would later get apprehended, both facing life in prison and currently fighting their cases right now. Following this, EBK Jayybo would make sure to diss J Black any way possible, literally talking about him in his first day out song. It's wild because this definitely is caught up to him, because it just comes out that the U.S. Marshals have him in custody, which has many people asking questions. How could that exactly happen? Obviously, that either means that he has some type of crime in California and he's getting extradited there, which we haven't seen any evidence yet, or he's being charged with a federal crime. But if he were being charged with a federal crime, it would be more than likely that it would have to do with some different state. We don't know necessarily. Some people were saying that he cut off his ankle monitor and fled, which would mean that the U.S. Marshals would be going and looking for him and he tried to flee to Arkansas.
Now, like I said, that murder for hire charge is crazy. Like that's some accusation you don't put out there. Like that's wild as hell. But and I just can't see him cutting his ankle monitor off either because when he was arrested, he was going to the 2025 freshman class. You know, for that. And I'm assuming it was in Arkansas, but like if he did that just to flee, it's crazy because he been going to state. So I'm just confused, bro. Like that murder for hire charge, hey, I ain't saying that's what happened. I ain't saying it's true. So I'm gonna get back to the video because
But
that's
he was
crazy
supposed
accusations.
to be on that NBA YoungBoy tour, so obviously I thought that maybe he had been doing something right, but maybe not. Maybe he was just on the run while doing all this press and about to go on a tour regardless. But the U.S. Marshals getting involved shows that there's something definitely important, which has a lot of rumors saying that he was responsible for the person paying for the person to take out Jay Black. And I mean, it could be the case. It could also not be the case. You know, say those two people that are currently locked up from EBK. Like they could have just went and did that themselves, just based off of the strength of who slo-be was, you know. But it seems that people are pointing fingers saying that he is getting locked up for murder for hire. We will find out more details soon. Obviously, they're not going to release all the details because if there's other people involved, they don't want other people to have a heads up and get rid of evidence. They're just going to do raids and catch people when they least surprised. And that's honestly what happened with Jayybo, because he was caught up in a whole situation in Arkansas, and then now he's going to end up fighting this whole case on a surprise. You know, they're trying to catch you off your feet, man. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think about this whole breakdown, this crazy situation. Stockton, California, man. Make sure you join the membership. Like,
yeah, I ain't heard nothing about it. I ain't about to run with it. That's crazy though. We gonna see if it's true. It's gonna come out. So I just hope it ain't true. You know, like I said, I fuck with Jayybo. You know, I fuck with his music, but I just hope it ain't true. But like I said, if it is true, it's gonna be coming out soon. So, cause this is new news. I know he got locked up in Arkansas, but I ain't know that was for the reason why by the U.S. Marshals. But like I said, we gonna see though. But I'll catch y'all on the next one and see y'all.